I arranged a surprise rooftop proposal for her birthday with her whole family there. When I dropped to one knee, she said, "Are you serious? You just ruined my birthday with your agenda." I stood back up. "You're right, my bad." Then I slipped the ring back in my pocket, thanked her family for coming, and walked away. Her mother called me the next day saying, "You know, I thought I was planning the most romantic, unforgettable proposal for the woman I loved. Instead, I accidentally created the most humiliating, gut-wrenching public breakup of my entire life. For 4 years, she was my everything. We met through mutual friends, moved in together after just 18 months, and marriage? Oh, it was a constant topic. She'd send me Pinterest boards of rings, specifically hinting at what she wanted. She'd tell her friends she was ready, wondering aloud what was taking me so long. So when her 30th birthday rolled around, I thought, this is it. This is our moment. I poured my heart into it. 3 months of meticulous planning. I rented a gorgeous rooftop event space at a downtown hotel, coordinated with her entire family, her parents, her sister, her brother-in-law, even her grandmother, and about 20 of her closest friends. I hired a professional photographer to capture every second, ordered a custom cake with our initials, and bought the ring. A stunning 1.8-carat oval-cut diamond in a platinum setting, exactly like the one she'd pinned. It set me back $14,500, money I'd been saving for 2 years, dreaming of this day. Everyone was in on it. The plan was flawless. She'd think we were going to a small family dinner. Then, surprise. When those elevator doors opened to the rooftop, everyone would be there, ready to celebrate her. After an hour of pure joy, I'd give a heartfelt toast, drop to one knee, and ask her to be my wife, surrounded by everyone who mattered to her. I truly believed she would adore it. I thought it was perfect. The night started beautifully. She was radiant, so excited about dinner, twirling in her beautiful dress, giggling about turning 30. As I led her into the hotel, toward the elevator, she didn't suspect a thing. Then, whoosh, the doors opened. Surprise! 30 voices erupted. Her face lit up. She screamed, hugged her mom, her sister, went around thanking everyone. She was genuinely, ecstatically happy. I watched her from across the room, swelling with pride at what I'd created for her. By the way, if you're still with me and on the edge of your seat, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, I've got more unbelievable stories where this came from. An hour in, the photographer gave me the signal. It was time. My heart was pounding with excitement, not nerves. I clinked my glass. Everyone quieted down. I gave a short speech, my voice thick with emotion, about how much she meant to me, how the past 4 years had been the best of my life, how I couldn't imagine my future without her. Her mom was already crying happy tears. Her grandmother beamed. Her best friend had her phone out, ready to record our moment. I took a deep breath, got down on one knee, and opened the ring box. "Will you marry me?" Silence. Not the good kind of silence. Not the gasp of awe silence. The kind where everyone holds their breath because something is profoundly wrong. She stared at me. Her expression shifted from surprise to confusion to something else. Something cold. Hard. "Are you serious right now?" she spat. I blinked. "What? You did this? On my birthday? In front of everyone?" I was still on one knee, ring box open, my heart starting to plummet into my stomach. My mind raced. "You thought what?" Then she said it, her voice dripping with venom. "You thought you'd hijack my birthday for your agenda? This was supposed to be my night, my celebration, and you made it about you." The room was dead silent. I could see her mom's face. Happy tears to confusion to utter mortification. I tried to interject. I didn't. I wanted to make it special. "Special?" she scoffed. "You couldn't let me have one night that wasn't about what you wanted. You had to make yourself the center of attention." This is so typical. I stayed there on one knee for a few more agonizing seconds, the ring still glittering, my mind struggling to process the impossible. Then something in me just clicked. A switch flipped. The hurt, the confusion, the embarrassment, it all solidified into a quiet resolve. I stood up. I closed the ring box. I slipped it back into my jacket pocket. "You're right," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "My mistake." She seemed genuinely surprised by my calm. "What?" I said, "You're right. I shouldn't have done this on your birthday. That was wrong of me." I turned to face the crowd, her family, her friends, all standing in stunned silence. "Thank you all for coming," I said, my gaze sweeping over their bewildered faces. "I'm sorry for the confusion. Please, enjoy the rest of the party." Then I walked past her mom, past everyone, and stepped onto the elevator. The doors closed, sealing me away from the wreckage. I went down to the lobby, walked out of the hotel, and drove home. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just drove in a daze, the last 4 years replaying in my mind, everything I'd apparently misunderstood. When I got home, I sat on the couch for 2 hours, just staring at that ring box. Finally, I put it in my sock drawer and went to bed. My phone had been blowing up since I left the rooftop. Texts from her friends, her family, her. I didn't read a single one. I just put it on Do Not Disturb and slept. Or tried to. The next morning, I woke up to 52 unread messages and 19 missed calls. Most from her, a few from her sister, one from her dad. Then her mom called again. This time, I answered. I don't even know where to start, her mom began, her voice choked with apology. I'm so sorry about last night. You don't need to apologize, I told her. You didn't do anything. What she said to you in front of everyone, her mom continued, that was unacceptable. Her father and I are mortified. I appreciate that, I said, a hollow ache in my chest. She's been crying all night, her mom said. She wants to talk to you. She says she didn't mean it, that she was overwhelmed, that it all happened so fast. I'm sure she's upset, I replied, but I'm not ready to talk to her right now. A long pause. Her mom sighed. I understand. But please, don't make any permanent decisions based on one bad moment. She loves you. I know she does. She might, I said firmly, but she also humiliated me in front of everyone I'd invited to celebrate her. That's not something I can just forget. Her mom didn't have a response to that. I spent the rest of the day ignoring my phone, trying to figure out the logistics of separating our lives. Our apartment lease was in both our names. Most of the furniture was mine. This was going to be complicated, but one thing was crystal clear. I wasn't marrying someone who could treat me like that, in front of our future family, and feel so utterly entitled to do so. This wasn't a pattern I'd ignored, by the way. Yes, she could be demanding sometimes, but nothing like the cruelty on that rooftop. I genuinely didn't see it coming. I'd been staying at my buddy's place since that night. I snuck back to the apartment once while she was at work to grab some essentials. The day after the proposal disaster, she actually showed up at my friend's door. She knew where I was because she tracked my phone location. My buddy answered, told her I didn't want to see her. She started crying right there in the hallway, saying she needed to explain that she'd made a mistake. He kept the door closed. Eventually, she left. That night, she sent a long text. I'll paraphrase, I know I messed up. I was overwhelmed. I'd had a lot of champagne. I didn't expect it, and I panicked. You have to understand, I've been planning my birthday for weeks, and suddenly it wasn't about me anymore. I felt ambushed. I know I said things I shouldn't have, but you have to see it from my perspective. Notice what's missing? An actual apology. Not once did she say, I'm sorry for humiliating you. Not once, I was wrong to react that way. Just explanations. Just justifications for why her reaction was perfectly understandable. I didn't respond. 2 days later, her sister reached out. She'd always been the reasonable one, so I actually took the call. Hey, she said, I know things are bad, but I wanted to check in on you. I appreciate that, I replied. For what it's worth, her sister continued, the whole family is on your side. What she did was horrible. My mom hasn't stopped talking about how embarrassed she is. That means a lot, honestly, I told her. She's telling everyone a different version of what happened though, her sister warned. Saying you sprung it on her without warning, didn't consider her feelings, making it sound like you ambushed her. My blood ran cold. I planned it for 3 months with her entire family. Her mom helped me pick the venue. I know, her sister said, a touch of frustration in her voice. I was there when you called to coordinate. That's why this is so frustrating. She's rewriting history, and some people are actually believing her. What people? I asked, a knot forming in my stomach. Her work friends, some college friends who weren't at the party. People who only have her side of the story. Great. So not only did she humiliate me publicly, now she was spinning a narrative that made me the bad guy. I thanked her sister for the heads up and decided I needed to get ahead of this. I didn't make a public post or anything dramatic, but I started having honest conversations with the people who mattered. When her best friend from college, the one who recorded the whole thing on her phone, reached out, I told her the truth. When my own friends asked, I told them the truth. When her dad called to apologize on behalf of the family, I thanked him and confirmed what actually occurred. The video her friend recorded? Apparently, it got shared in their friend group. Multiple people saw exactly how she'd reacted. The disgust in her voice, the way she called it my birthday, like I was a crasher of my own proposal. By day 4, the narrative started shifting. People who'd initially heard her version were getting the full picture. Her own friends started distancing themselves. And then she tried a new tactic. She showed up at my workplace. I'm an engineer at a manufacturing company. She knows the address, my schedule, where I park. She was waiting by my car at the end of my shift. We need to talk, she said, her voice tight. You can't just ignore me forever. I'm not ignoring you, I said, unlocking my car. I'm processing. Processing what? She scoffed. I made a mistake. I've apologized 100 times. No, I countered, looking at her directly. You've explained yourself 100 times. That's not the same as apologizing. What do you want me to say? She cried, throwing her hands up. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry I reacted badly, but you have to understand. No, I cut her off. I don't have to understand. understand. You humiliated me in front of everyone who was supposed to become our family. You called my proposal my agenda. You made me feel like asking you to marry me was an inconvenience. That's not what I meant, she insisted. That's exactly what you meant, I stated, my voice low and firm. You meant that your birthday, a birthday I'd spent 3 months and thousands of dollars celebrating, was more important than our future together. And you said it in front of everyone. She started crying. So that's it? For years? And you're going to throw it all away over one bad moment? You threw it away, I corrected her, my voice unwavering. Not me. I'm just accepting that it's gone. I got in my car and drove off. She was still standing in the parking lot when I looked in my rearview mirror. The next day, I contacted a lawyer about the apartment lease. It was going to be messy. Both our names were on it, with 8 months left. But I'd rather pay the penalty to break it than ever live with her again. I also started the process of returning the ring. The jeweler had a return policy for store credit, minus a restocking fee. I'd lose about $2,000, but honestly, that was a small price for this newfound clarity. Main story part 3, the unraveling and my new beginning. Things actually resolved faster than I expected. I offered to pay the early termination fee myself, about $3,400, if she'd just sign off on breaking the lease cleanly. She initially refused, saying she couldn't afford to move and I was being unreasonable. So I made a counteroffer. I'd move out, and she could keep the apartment for the remaining 8 months, but she'd have to take over full rent payments, which, I knew, she couldn't afford on her own. She tried to get me to stay on the lease while she lived there, basically wanting me to subsidize her housing even though we were over. I said no. She called me petty and vindictive. Eventually, her dad stepped in. He agreed to cover 3 months of rent while she figured out her situation, and she signed off on removing my name from the lease. I moved my stuff out last weekend with help from my brother. She wasn't there. Her sister had told her to make herself scarce to avoid a confrontation. I only took what was mine, furniture I'd bought before we moved in, or items I'd paid for entirely during the relationship. I left her the couch she'd paid half for and the kitchen table, a gift from her parents. Fair is fair. Now, here's where things got really interesting. Her friend group has basically fractured. That video of the proposal, the one her college friend recorded, got shared more widely than I expected. Not publicly, but within their extended circle. People saw exactly how she'd reacted. The tone, the contempt, the way she spat, my night and your agenda. Some of her friends defended her, saying she was overwhelmed. But others watched that video and saw something they couldn't unsee. Her best friend, the one who recorded it, apparently had a huge confrontation with her, told her what she'd done was cruel, and that she'd watched a man's heartbreak in real time. My ex apparently responded by saying her friend was taking his side, and that she felt betrayed by everyone. They haven't spoken since. Meanwhile, her family has been remarkably decent to me. Her mom sent me a long message apologizing again, saying she'd raised her daughter to be better than that. Her dad called to say he hoped I'd find someone who appreciated me. Her sister has checked in twice to make sure I'm okay. They all still love her, of course. She's family, but they're not defending what she did. And she's noticed. According to her sister, she's been complaining that her own family is siding with the ex, and that it feels like everyone has abandoned her. She tried one more time to get me back. Showed up at my buddy's place again. Yes, she tracked my location again. She basically demanded I give her another chance. You owe me a conversation, she insisted. You can't just walk away from 4 years without even trying to work through it. I don't owe you anything, I told her, standing firm. And I'm not walking away without trying. I tried for 4 years. I planned a proposal that I thought would make you happy. You responded by telling me I'd ruined your birthday. I said I was sorry, she wailed. No, I countered, looking her straight in the eye. You said you were overwhelmed. You said I should understand your perspective. You said it wasn't your fault because you'd had champagne. That's not an apology. That's a list of excuses. So what do you want? She yelled, frustrated. You want me to grovel? You want me to beg? I want you to understand that what you did was wrong, I stated, my voice calm but powerful. Not understandable given the circumstances. Not a mistake anyone could make. Wrong. Cruel. Humiliating. And until you can say that without a but attached, there's nothing to talk about. She stared at me for a long moment, tears streaming down her face. Then she said, You're really going to throw away everything we had over your ego? My ego. My ego? I got on one knee in front of 30 people, was publicly rejected, and somehow this was about my ego. We're done here, her, I said, and walked back inside. She stood there for about 5 minutes before driving away. That was 3 days ago. Since then, I've blocked her number. Not because I'm afraid of what she'll say, but because there's truly nothing left to say. The ring is officially returned. I got $12,200 in store credit after the restocking fee. I'm probably going to use part of it to buy my mom something nice for her birthday next month. She's been incredibly supportive through all of this. My ex is apparently telling people I abandoned her and couldn't handle a strong woman. Her version of events has become more exaggerated over time. I don't engage with any of it. The people who matter know the truth. The people who believe her version weren't going to believe me anyway. This is my final update because the situation has more or less resolved, and I'm ready to close this chapter. The fallout in her personal life has been significant, not because I orchestrated anything. I genuinely didn't, but because the truth has a way of spreading on its own. Her friend group remains fractured. From what I've heard through her sister, who's been surprisingly forthcoming, about half of her close friends have distanced themselves. Nobody wants to be associated with a girl who rejected a proposal by calling it an agenda. Her work situation got complicated too. She works in marketing, and apparently, one of her coworkers was at the party. Not maliciously, just the way people talk, that coworker told others what happened. Now, there are people at her job who look at her differently. Not discrimination or anything actionable, just a subtle shift that happens when people learn something unflattering about you. She's complained to her sister that even work isn't safe anymore. Her family situation is strained but stable. Her parents still love her, of course. They're not going to disown their daughter over a bad reaction, but there's a distance now that wasn't there before. Her mom told her sister that she doesn't recognize the person who said those things, and that she hopes therapy helps. Yeah, she started seeing a therapist. I genuinely hope it helps her, not because I want her back, I don't, but because whatever made her react like that is something she needs to address for her own sake. Her sister called me one last time about a week ago. I wanted to let you know she's moving, she said. Found a job in another state. Decided she needs a fresh start. That's probably good for her, I replied. I think so too, her sister agreed. She's been struggling here. Too many reminders. I hope she figures things out, I said honestly. Do you mean that? She asked, surprised. Yeah, actually. I'm angry at her. Probably always will be a little. But I don't wish her a bad life. I just couldn't be part of it anymore. For what it's worth, her sister added, she still doesn't fully get it. She told me last week that you overreacted to a moment of stress and that she deserved a second chance. No real accountability, just victim mentality. That's her journey, I guess, I sighed. Anyway, I wanted to say goodbye. Thank you for being decent through all of this. A lot of guys would have dragged her through the mud publicly. I thought about it, I admitted, decided it wasn't worth the energy. Well, I appreciate it. My family appreciates it. Take care of yourself. That was the last conversation I had with anyone from her side. As for me, I'm doing okay. Not great, but okay. 4 years is a long time to spend with someone. And even when it ends badly, you don't just switch off the feelings overnight. There are moments when I miss her, or more accurately, miss who I thought she was. The version of her that would have said yes with tears in her eyes and hugged me in front of everyone. That person didn't exist, apparently. But the version I'd imagined was real enough in my head. I started seeing a therapist too. Not because I'm falling apart, but because I want to understand why I didn't see this coming. Why I spent 4 years with someone without recognizing what she was capable of. What blind spots I have that let me miss the signs. My therapist says I'm too hard on myself. That narcissistic traits can be well hidden until stress reveals them. That the proposal was a stress test, and she failed it spectacularly. It's a helpful framing, even if it doesn't make me feel totally absolved. The store credit from the ring? I ended up using part of it to buy my mom a beautiful bracelet for her birthday. She cried when I gave it to her, happy tears this time. She said it was too much, that I should save the money for myself. I told her she'd earned it by raising a son who knew when to walk away from a bad situation. The rest of the credit is sitting there. Maybe I'll use it someday. Maybe I won't. Right now, engagement rings aren't really on my radar. I've moved into my own place. A small one-bedroom apartment in a decent, quiet neighborhood. It's the first time in almost 3 years I've lived alone. And honestly, it's nice. I can leave dishes in the sink without someone commenting on it. I can watch whatever I want without negotiating. I can just exist without being evaluated. Some nights, I think about what would have happened if she'd said yes. We'd be planning a wedding right now, booking venues, picking colors, sending save the dates, building toward a future that I now know would have been built on a cracked foundation. I dodged a bullet. A $14,500 bullet that cost me 4 years and a lot of pain, but a bullet nonetheless. She wanted her birthday to be about her. She got her wish. It was entirely about her, in the worst possible way. Every person at that party will remember it as the night she publicly publicly humiliated someone who loved her. Every person in her life now knows what she's capable of under pressure. That's not revenge. That's just consequence. I didn't destroy her reputation. She did that herself, in front of 30 witnesses and a camera. I didn't turn her family against her. They were there. They saw. I didn't make her lose friends or struggle at work or need to move away for a fresh start. Those were all natural results of her own behavior catching up with her. All I did was stand up, pocket the ring, thank her family for coming, and leave. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is walk away with dignity. She called it my agenda. Turns out, my agenda was pretty simple. Propose to the woman I loved and hope she said yes. She said no, in the cruelest way possible. I accepted her answer, and I moved on. That's not vindictive. That's just self-respect. Thanks for following along, everyone. I'm going to close this chapter now. It's time to start building something new. Have any of you ever had a moment where you realized you needed to just walk away, no matter how much it hurt? What did you do? Tell me your stories in the comments below. I really want to hear what you think.